Hey, good morning, everybody. Morning, morning. Morning, John. Morning, Patrick. Morning, David. Morning, Harry. Good morning. Whew. What a day. What a day. Every day is what a day lately. I tell you. Got economic news like crazy. Got jobs. Got PPI. Had CPI yesterday. The markets, well, they're kind of dicey, kind of choppy. Get some choppy reaction from PPI. We're going to go through it. We're going to talk about it. It is a mango morning monster type of day. And it's kind of neat how it does that translucent can situation. It's kind of a turquoise can. I guess it matches the. It's like a completely different color than the green screen, but I guess the chroma key likes that turquoise. Morning, Francois. Good morning. Good morning. So I guess we should kick it off with the disclaimer as always. So here we go. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I may be full of crap. Just throwing that out there. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, and fun. Hopefully you're having fun. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. If you desire personal financial advice, please hire and consult a financial advisor that has a fiduciary duty to give you advice based on your financial situation. Hey, Al. Morning. Morning, morning. Yeah, I got a little more sleep than I've had all week, so feeling a little better, more peppy, more pep in my step, and, the monster. Anyway, yeah. You know what's funny is when I wear my green shirt, it doesn't pick up on the chroma key. Like, I don't know what the heck. Morning, Jason. Anyway, morning, Dan. Morning, Wortman Smith. Good to have you. Remember, if you are new here, one of your first times, you have to be a subscriber to be able to chat with me. We have a live stream chat. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. A few seconds later, you'll be able to chat. And while you're at it, you might as well hit the alert with the little things on it and set it to all notifications so you get notified when I go live every morning. And usually on Tuesdays at 5 p.m., I do 30 minutes of awesome. This week, due to unfortunate circumstances, we had to bump it to yesterday. So that's in the history of YouTube under the live streams tab. Anyway, morning, Alan, and good to have everybody. Chatty group to this morning. Now, if you got questions along the way, make sure to ask them. Morning, Don. Morning. So we're going to talk about PPI. We have the lowest read since January 2021. Not too bad. And, coming all the way back. Looking for it, prices to actually, to me, this is not necessarily deflationary until we go negative. And really, it's still inflationary. We're looking at producer prices still going up by 2%. That's not deflationary, despite what this may say. Now, the pipeline, now, what we may get is some deflationary PPI reads coming up. But right now, that's not what we're actually getting. So, M2 money supply, as I've talked about in episodes past, is coming down, is negative. So the money supply is negative. It's shrinking. Our M2, U.S. money supply is shrinking. So PPI is kind of heading that way too. Just so we know. Now, initial claims, jobless, unexpectedly soared to the highest since October 2021. Little tick up after rounding the top a little bit, little pop. These numbers are cooked. Let's be honest. They just make them up. Really, as I read into the whole situation during COVID, they have no way to report these in any kind of real-time, weekly basis, even though they do. And the market moves on them like crazy. It's just all manipulation. Like, they can add their little adjustment factors in their spreadsheet things, and then they go and correct them a month or two later, and nobody's the wiser. So this is all an estimate. There's only I think it's 20 out of 50 states have any kind of real-time ability to report these numbers to the BLS. So the computer systems are wildly behind the times and just decrepit for most states. So, but, looking at right here, not seasonally adjusted. We're seeing Massachusetts, huge unemployment, while Kentucky and Colorado and Georgia. So, interesting, right? Getting jobs in Kentucky, but not in Massachusetts, California, Missouri, Texas, New York, Ohio. Yeah. And then states in the middle where not really losing, not really gaining. North Dakota, Florida, Utah, Maine, South Dakota, Hawaii, Idaho. And then we get into some losses down, or some job gains down here. So, interesting stuff. Tennessee coming up right up in here. That's where I am. So, not even really seeing a regional thing necessarily, because you've got Tennessee up here, but you got Kentucky down here. So, I don't know. We do have California right up there, Texas, New York. That's where a lot of the people live. All making the top. So, anyway. Morning, Valerie. Used to complete these in a real pain. Yeah. I've been researching into how the numbers work. Roughly our economy churns about between 200 and 300,000 jobs a week. I mean, that's just the normal churn. Like, that many people get fired and lose their jobs and everything. And so there's that many kind of new hires every week. And that's just the normal churn. We're kind of getting back into that normalcy. And we can pop over and look at the calendar here. And I need to put it back on this week, not last week. Or next week. Get my week straight. So if we look at this right here. Pull it down. And zoom out. I don't know if we can get far enough back. So we used to just churn about 200,000 jobs. Like it hung out at 300,000 jobs, 250, 300,000 jobs. That was like the normal. You can see it. And there we go. We had a declining pattern kind of, but we have that was just kind of normal. And we were getting less and less along the way as the trend. And then we popped into COVID. And now we're coming back into that normalcy where we just churn about 250, 300,000 jobs a week. That's just the way it goes. And you can see there's not really a trend to it. This was coming off the COVID trend, and then now we're just kind of doing these little pops, and that's the normal kind of, having 200,000 is kind of low, really, for our economy. Think about it. Think how many kids don't want to work and stuff. I mean, you quit, you get fired, you don't show up, whatever. You do your jobless claim and then get a new job, and then cycle starts over again. Out of whatever it is that 300 million people we have in the U.S., there's 0.1% that lose their job every week. It's just kind of the way it is. All right. Popping into NQ, we had this little pattern yesterday where I thought we would bottom out. I guess Monday I talked about we would bottom out down here. We popped, we retraced, we popped back up into the close. We did kind of this sideways thing, making a higher high. That can lead to another retrace right back down about here, and then the next pop. And everything's looking pretty good so far. Still on the path until we start breaking down, making lower lows. We get below yesterday's low or the day before's low. That's like the first big warnings that we may be not going up to 13,700. Now 13,700, despite my numbers going up past 13,700, 13,700 is about the limit on NQ. Now, JT, what's NQ? NQ is NASDAQ's futures, like NASDAQ 100. If you're wondering how to trade that, that's like QQQ. For the common folk, that's the ETF that you would be familiar with. This is where the numbers come from. Why futures? Because they trade round the clock. All right, then you're not going to pull up the NASDAQ index and see this sideways consolidation all night, because the NASDAQ index doesn't trade all night, but the NQ futures do, and that's where I get the complete picture of what's happening. So there you go right there. That's kind of the path I'm expecting into potentially up to around 13.6 by tomorrow, then another pullback, then potentially something right up there around mid-month, another pullback, and then maybe we see a poke through, but then we're going to get a bigger pullback likely after we get on up there. So a little bit of chop as we chop higher, trying to make these targets on the upside. I do kind of expect a reaction at that prior high from August, and we'll look at that on the chart over here. Oh, I didn't even talk about PPI. PPI coming in, dropping. It's dropping out. Not negative. I mean, we had a negative read before, but not quite getting there. Then the core PPI still positive. I mean, this is still rising. Anyway, they don't give us the year over year on Forex Factory like they do for the CPI up here. But those are still going to be positive for the year. That's still inflation. All right. S&P just sideways in the box. Hasn't been able to break out. S5FI still consolidating in the middle. Hasn't been able to break out. Hasn't broken down. I was talking about the NQ futures. This is NASDAQ futures, and that high right back over here around 13,728. We have a destined date. I mean, a date as in let's go out, baby. We have a date with that prior high sometime in the future, in the coming days, I feel like. And it's also where we topped out right back here in March a year ago. On this chop right in here, we topped out right in there in March. That's how I kind of have this orange zone right here. All right. That's where it comes from. I feel like we have strong resistance. It was support coming, we kind of consolidated in there. We popped up, came down, bounced off of it, bounced, and then crushed through and dropped on out. So that's what we're trying to work through right there. You can see that consolidation right in there is just where we're at. We're probably going to pop up and get that little bit higher test. I'm not so sure we can get through it on the first go. We'll see. All right. That's coming up. Now, why NASDAQ? Why am I focusing on NASDAQ right now when I usually have talked about S&P? S&P 500, which is ES and SPX, has become unclear with that consolidation. Like, this is messy and gnarly, and I like to make money, so I tend to focus on the things that are clear, that are giving me a path forward, either up or down. And this right here isn't very clear. It's not giving me a clear path forward, either up or down. Some other people may argue with me. I mean, may have a different argument, but right now, that's a choppy, hot mess of unclear price action. NASDAQ has a freaking trend going up. It is choppy, but it's going up, and it's a higher high than we've had, and likely to go test that August high. Now, it'll probably drag ES with it because Apple is like, whatever it is, 13, 15% of S&P 500's movement. So it'll probably drag it with it. Now, Russell over here looking kind of weak and actually looking like it may push down to 1670 area. Do an extension to the downside. It's kind of looking weak. That's our small caps right there. If you're unfamiliar with that, that's like IWM. So small caps still looking weak. PAC-W, I didn't even put this on the list today, but Pacific West announcing a big run on their deposits, and that's like a 25% slam down, even though the numbers are getting small. That one can be the next one that goes under right there. Yet another bank about to blow out. Hey, Suck Bear. Morning. Morning, Pat. Morning, everybody. Oil getting slammed. As I said, like, kind of expect this to roll on down, potentially make a lower low down here in the 59.60 area, right down in here. Probably should move this target down since it already hit that way over here. Let's move this down here. Probably going, if we can't hold this support zone in here, in that zone, well, it was there because of the potential to bounce. But if we don't hold that potential to bounce right there, where that big blue line is, then we're probably heading down here. So more than likely, we're going to get a retest in this area. probably where we're headed right now, right in here. If we break down, probably going down here. So let's just copy this thing, highlight, highlight, highlight. There we go. And let's pull that down here. Come on, come on, come on, work with me. All right, I don't want to adjust the size. I want to move it. There we go. Right down here. If we break down through that support one more time, support's right around 67, 68, possibly down to 66. We can find support. That's like the line in the sand where if we get below 66 and close the day, like spend any time below 66, then we're probably headed down to 59 at least. All right, that's on oil. Gold, well, that was cool. Gold right there, just churning sideways after spiking up and hitting the extension. Don't really expect much. I kind of expect gold to retrace to the roadmap line, and it keeps moving I keep moving the drawings over, and it keeps moving them right back. I really appreciate TradingView for not saving my drawings. That's so cool. Bitcoin, just churning. That's a low consolidation. It may spike down and hit the roadmap line. Just be careful. That can be out there. If you're long Bitcoin, be careful. Dollar, churning, and we break down below the lows, probably going to extend, but just keeps churning right here. Not really moving. After several months of big moves, dollar just not moving. Now, for stuff actually moving today, Nice. Nice has a nice pop, $9. That's like a 4%, almost 5% move up. Right back into this, what was support, now is going to be resistance. We're moving higher. It can push lower, despite having pretty darn good earnings where we beat on the top and the bottom. Not by huge, 2% beat, 1% beat. Yeah, they're in IT, so software, information, computer, junk, whatever. I don't even know exactly what they do, so don't really care. Dillard's was showing a pop, now showing a drop. Beat 30% on the top number, 2.5% on the bottom number. Pretty good beat for retail. Making money still, not bleeding out like some of our other retail people. Bed Bath & Beyond, Blood Bath & Beyond, going out of business and beyond, bankrupt and beyond. Anyway, AXON. Getting a little bounce off the roadmap line potentially. Oh, looks like the market is open. Market is open. So we have put it at the bottom there. That was one big fast drop down. So resistance maybe around 214. Breaking back above the highs. There's not really a clear. We had those lows right there. That may be the resistance it needs to poke through to get an extension. But that was a beautiful retrace after several months of not touching the roadmap line. That can go on an extension out to 241, 256 potentially. TTD, the trade desk, packaged software, has some levels to work through. That's going to be kind of resistance, and then another one right above that. Be careful trying to chase that one higher because, like I said, it's got some resistance to work through. And it's rejected that area twice right there. ALB, still view that as likely to go on down. It may come up and retest the roadmap line, but still looks likely to go on down. It does, it does. Could have been the bottom, but I don't know. That chart looks pretty bad right now. Maxion Solar Technologies. Looks like earnings were estimated a loss, made a gain. I mean, that's pretty big. And then didn't overly impress on the revenue, but they were able to cook the books enough to get earnings to be positive. So getting a pop. And right up to prior high resistance. It was just up there 2 weeks ago. Took a dive and right back up. Could break out and get an extension. Let's see what kind of target we should go for. Doing it a couple different ways. 36, probably resistance. Classic right there where that's the classic move right there. You see that we hit the 1272, retraced right back to the 100. Just went inside the prior high. Retested where, even though those wicks go up that high, we retested where the main candle bodies were right there. Popping up, probably going to come out to the 36 area. 36. What's wrong with me? Can't speak properly. 36 area, probably going to come up there. Find resistance again. And that would be classic right there. Off of that pullback, that's an extension 35.50. So we may poke up just a little higher in there, then retrace again before we can keep climbing the fib ladder. So at some point up here, though, we will exhaust and come back and retest the roadmap line one more time. TPR, and a little pop back up to the roadmap line. Apparel and footwear. I'm not sold on this reversing here. Got resistance up here. Till it gets above that, it's not an uptrend. That can come up here and turn down and go down bigger. Be careful on that one. AP looks like probably gonna go down, and that's low priced garbage. Google breaking out, getting a crazy move up overnight. It's probably gonna go retest these highs over here. I've been saying that for months now. We're probably going to go retest that high. Above that high, and we can go up really big. Yeah, Google can get back to 150. These were super big numbers before the split. We had the 20-for-1 split back here. So after we break that high, we can go retest this 150 area up there. ABST, nice pop, but that still looks like a choppy, horrible mess and not something I would be chasing. Unity makes software that makes the games. Looks like managed to squeak out a little profit and beat on revenue. Not too shabby. Chart does not look too good though. That was high flying and now it's in the dumpster here. That's probably near its real value, I'm willing to bet. And it's going to take a move up through 42 to get any kind of extension higher, but not moving huge. I've actually made a game with Unity in my past. My son likes to compete in video game competitions where you go from scratch to a final video game in a weekend. And just April 28th? Was the weekend he did another one of those. And Unity is one of the softwares that you can do that in. Something else called Game Maker is another one. And Unreal Engine, and there's a few more, but I've used Unity and Game Maker. FLNC, losing money, but beating on top, beating on the bottom, getting a little bit of pop, but that's still a sideways choppy mess. Fiverr, we can hire people to freelance for you. Still looking pretty horrible. Sideways, choppy mess. That looks like a head and shoulders. And it may continue lower. TUR, Turkey. Looks like still consolidating here. Set a lower highs. That looks like it may want to retrace deeper. Not something that is overly awesome for me. Maybe you want to bet on it, but we're probably sitting there below. Yeah, we're below resistance and been holding resistance. So it's going to take a break above 36 to indicate that we might go to 41. And that's not huge numbers. Disney, as they say, go woke, go broke. That seems to be that looks like a potential head and shoulders popping up in there. And we could go down back into a lower low 68 area here. Be careful. Be careful. That's the COVID lows down here. That could go lower than the COVID lows. Disney having a rough time. Got to get your political message straight. Or stay out of politics. That's a better idea for companies. Sono looks like got hit. Earnings not so good. Either on the top, either on the bottom. Not making money. Despite people loving their product, they don't know how to make a profit out of it. So dangerous business when money's expensive. PKI also getting a slam. It may retrace back up, but that's a path for going lower. How much lower? 105 area potential. And NTR also going lower. That's that exponential move. And then, as I keep saying in Discord and on here, probably, when they do the exponential thing, it's highly likely to come right back. And this looks like the bubble type pattern where we get that constant drift off after that bubble. Let's go from the low to the high. Right at support here, we could go down to 45. Could bounce here. Could. The chart doesn't look awesome though. Yeah, this would be a great place to find support and turn higher. First indication would be a move back up through the roadmap line, back up to around 75. Otherwise, we start breaking below this $60 area, we can extend down easily to this 45 area. Very easily. All right, bias for the day. More sideways chop on S&P. Still looking for that kind of retrace and pop on NQ that I was talking about on the lead right here. Probably we're going to retrace about this, probably pop up here. Signed up for the roadmap last night, have not received login details. All right, check it out. So if you didn't get the login details, check your spam folder. If you still don't have anything at all in the spam folder, give my customer service team a call right here. I'll post it in the chat. Give them a call and ask for Gustavo. He'll help you out. All right. That's the best I can offer you. And the link's on members.jeffreytrader.com to get in Discord. But you probably need a login to get into members.jeffreytrader.com. So should have been an email. Probably hit your spam or promotions or whatever filter you may have. So, all right. Morning. All right. Let's go get after it. If you want to continue the conversation, Discord links in the chat, and we'll see you. Come chat with me all day. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell for the notifications when I go live tomorrow, about 9:10ish. And yeah, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe out there. The account you save, maybe your own. And yeah, be back with you tomorrow.